Abundant Grace International School, we are located right in Obuasi, precisely BDM. The school has a number of facilities that aid in learning. We have qualified and trained teachers who are ready and willing to assist the children. The school has many facilities such as the ICT laboratory. We also have a science laboratory. We also have a library. The school has a number of buses which convey the children from their various destinations to the school premises. We have the football team, we have the drama group, we have a lot, and the school is based on the Christian principles. For more inquiries, you can call this number 0541 310 901 0541 670772. Abundant Grace, in God we trust.
Hello, viewers. My name is Abdelmumin Rafik, and I'm going to be your pre-technical skills facilitator for today. And then we are going to discuss solid shapes. And nowadays, we shall look at examples of solid shapes. We also look at prisms and then types of prisms. We'll look at pyramids and then types of pyramids, and also discuss the differences between plane shapes and solid shapes. So, good. Now, what is a solid? What is a solid? Now, a solid is a magnitude that has length, depth. A solid is a magnitude that has length, height, that is the depth of it, and then breadth, and then that is the what? The width of it. A solid is a magnitude that has length, height, and then breadth. A solid is said to be right if the central axis passing through it is perpendicular or at right angle to the face on which the solid stands. A solid is said to be a right solid if the central axis passing through it is perpendicular or at right angle to the face on which the solid rests. To the face on which the solid rests. Now, this tells us that it is not just every solid figure which we can consider as a solid. A true solid figure is the one which its axis makes perpendicular and then what? Passing through it, and then it rests on its where the face on which the solid rests. The face on which the solid rests. Now, at this point, I'll display some examples of solid on the screen for viewers to see. Good. So the images displayed on our screen are examples of right solid shapes. For instance, we have a cube, a rectangular. Then we also have a square pyramid. We have a cone. We have a triangular prism. We have a cylinder, and then a sphere. Sphere. So all the images displayed above are types or examples of what? Solid. But then today, our lesson is going to be geared or focused on prisms and pyramids. So let's take a look at what pyramid or prisms are. So we start discussing the meaning of a prism. Good. So prisms are solid whose top and bottom edges are equal and then parallel. Prisms are solids whose top and bottom are equal and parallel. Now, in our previous lessons, we learned about parallel lines. We learned about parallel lines, where we said that parallel lines are lines that do not meet. So if you have a solid shape whose edges do not meet, it is described as a prism. It is described as a prism. And then prisms are named according to the shape of the base. Prisms are named according to the shape of their base. So the examples here, we have a triangular prism, which means that the shape of that prism is a triangle. We have rectangular prism, which means that the base of this prism is a rectangle. Then we have hexagonal prism. Now, a hexagon is a six-sided polygon. A hexagon is a what? A six-sided polygon. So we have hexagonal prism, which means that it has a hexagon as its base. Then we have a cube. A cube as an example of a prism. A cube is a prism with all its sides and its edges the same. It has all its edges of the same length. Then we have a cylinder. A cylinder. A cylinder is a prism with a circular base. Cylinder is a prism with a circular base. So I'll display examples of prisms for viewers to take a look at. Good. So the diagram above is a labeled diagram of a prism. It's a labeled diagram of a prism. As we can see, we have the base, we have the long edge, we have the corner, we have the base edge, we have the rectangular face. So as we said, prisms are named according to the shape of their base. So by that, this prism is a square prism because the shape of the base is a square, and therefore it bears the name square prism. Square prism. So prisms are named according to the shape of their base. Good. So these are examples of prisms. We have A is a square prism, B hexagonal prism, C is a triangular prism, D is a cylindrical prism. So as I was explaining, I said that a prism with a circular base is called a cylinder. Now, these are also examples of hexagonal prisms. A hexagon is a six-sided polygon. So the images on your screen are all 6 sides. 6 sides. Good. So let's move on to the pyramids, and then we look at the types of what? Pyramids. What is a pyramid? Pyramid. Pyramid. Good. Pyramids are solids with flat sides. Pyramids are solids with flat sides which slopes to a point at the top called apex. Prisms have flat sides which slope to a top called apex. Apex. So unlike prisms whose sides are parallel to each other, pyramids actually have a converging point. They have a point where they all meet, and then that point is called an apex. An apex. So just like prisms, pyramids are also named according to the shape of their base. According to the shape of their base. So below are some features of a prism. A pyramid. A pyramid has a base, slanted heights. It has a vertical height, apex, and an axis. An axis. So I'll display the parts of a pyramid so that viewers can see. So as you can see, on your screen, the topmost parts of a pyramid is called an apex. Apex. Then we have the base, then the slant edge. The slant edge. So the base, as we said, prisms are named according to the shape of their base. So with this, we have a square pyramid. A square pyramid, because the shape of the base is a square, and therefore it bears the name square pyramid. Square pyramid. So these are examples of pyramids. We have a square pyramid. Why is it, and the diagram is a square pyramid? Why is it a square pyramid? Because the base takes the shape of a square. Diagram C is a cone. A cone. Cone. Good. Now, a pyramid with a circular base is called a cone. So diagram B is a cone. A pyramid with a circular base is called a cone. So diagram B is a cone. Then diagram C, as the base takes the shape of a triangle, then therefore the pyramid is called a triangular pyramid. Then diagram D is a hexagonal pyramid. Hexagonal pyramid. Because the shape takes a hexagon, and therefore it is named hexagonal pyramid. Now, on your screen, we have various types of pyramids. So you can try naming them according to the shape of their base. According to the shape of their base. Good. Now, at this point, I would like to go over again. So all these are pyramids. Pyramids. Pyramids being displayed on the screen. All these examples are pyramids. So you can try naming them in the house. Good. We first started with prisms, where we said that prisms are solids whose top and then bottom ends are parallel and what? Equal to each other. Now, parallel here means that their edges do not meet. Their edges do not what? Meet. And then prisms are named according to the shape of their base. So here we have triangular prism, rectangular prism, which is called a cuboid. Then we have hexagonal prism, and then a cube. A cube actually is a prism with all its edges of the same what? Length. It has all edges of the same length. And then we have a cylinder. A cylinder is a prism with a circular base. If you have a prism with a circular base, it is called a cylinder. A cylinder. Good. And then we have a diagram showing the parts of a prism. So we have the base, then we have the long edge, we have the corner, we have the base edge, and then the rectangular face. So these are the parts of a prism. The parts of a prism. Good. Then we have a square prism. That is diagram A. Why a square prism? Because the shape of it is, at the base of it is a square, and therefore it bears the name square prism. Then we have a hexagonal prism. As I said, a hexagon is a six-sided figure. A six-sided figure, and therefore figure B bearing the shape, its base bearing the shape of a hexagon, and therefore we have it as a hexagonal prism. Then we have triangular prism. Why triangular prism? The base is a triangle, and therefore it bears the name triangular prism. Then we have D. D is a cylinder or cylindrical prism. Why do we call it cylindrical prism? It is because the base is a circle. The base is a circle, and therefore it bears the name a cylinder. Then diagram E is a truncated rectangular prism. Now, when I say truncated, it means that the object has been what? Cut. It is not in full length. Part of it is what? Cut off. That is why we have the diagram E as a truncated rectangular prism. Truncated rectangular prism. So we have more diagrams to portray prisms. Good. Then we also learned about pyramids. Pyramids. Good. So we said that pyramids are solids with flat sides which slope to a point at the top called apex. At the top called apex. So unlike prisms which have the sides parallel to each other, pyramids actually meet at a point called the apex. Apex. And then pyramids are also named according to the shape of the base. They take the shape of the base as their name. So if you have a pyramid with a square base, it will be called a square pyramid. A pyramid with a triangular base will be called a triangular pyramid. So I'll display some examples of pyramids for viewers to also observe. Good. So this diagram is portraying the parts of a pyramid. As I said, pyramids have apex where its sides converge to at the top. As you can see, the sides are what? Are sloping, and then they are all meeting at the top, called an apex. Then we also have the base. The base is the bottom part on which the solid rests. So in this case, this pyramid is resting on its base, and that is the base takes the shape of a square. So this one is called a square pyramid. Then it has a slanted edge. Slanted edge. Slanted edge. Good. So here are some examples of pyramids. So diagram A is a square pyramid. Diagram A is a square pyramid. Why a square pyramid? Because the base is a square. The base is a square. Good. Then diagram B is a cone. A cone. And a cone, we said, is a pyramid with a circular base. A cone is a pyramid with a circular base. Then diagram C is a triangular pyramid. Why triangular pyramid? Because the base takes the shape of a triangle, and therefore it is called a triangular pyramid. Then diagram D is a hexagonal pyramid. Why hexagonal pyramid? Because the shape of the diagram is a hexagon. The base is a hexagon, and therefore it bears the name hexagonal pyramid. Hexagonal pyramid. Now, let's take a look at the differences between plane shapes and solids. Plane shapes and solids. Now, the difference between plane shapes and solid is that a solid shape has 3 dimensions. That is the length, the height, and then the breadth. Solid shapes, they have 3 dimensions. That is the length, the height, and then we have the breadth. But then plane shapes, they have only 2 dimensions. Plane shapes have only 2 dimensions, which are the what? The length and then the height. The length and the height. So I will display images of plane shapes so that viewers can have a look at how plane shapes also look like. Good. So on your screen, you have plane shapes. And then if you've been observing carefully, you realize that the solid shapes are quite different from the plane shapes. So plane shapes, we have a square, a pentagon, a rectangle, a trapezoid. trapezoid, and then we have a hexagon, circle, triangle, rhombus, octagon, and a parallelogram. So all these are examples of what? Of plane shape. And then as we can see, these shapes have only two sides. They have two sides. Unlike the solid figures, which had height, breadth, and then length. Good. So I also display images portraying both prisms and then pyramids. Prisms and pyramids, so that viewers can differentiate between pyramids and prisms. These are shapes of solids. Shapes of solids. 3D shapes of solids. 3D shapes of solids. Cube, cylinder, cone, rectangular prism, a sphere, triangular prism, square, pyramid, and then triangular pyramid. So these objects are all portraying the shapes of solids. The shapes of solids, or we can say types of what? Of solid shapes. Types of solid shapes. Good. So today we've looked at solid shapes, examples of solid shapes. They also looked at prisms, and then types of what? Prisms, where we said that we have triangular prism, square prism, rectangular prism, and others. Then we came to what? Pyramids, where we said that we have hexagonal pyramid, square pyramid, triangular pyramid, and then a cone. A cone that is a pyramid with a circular base. A pyramid with a circular base. Then we came to the differences between plane shapes and then solid shapes. Plane shapes and solid shapes, where we said that solids have 3 dimensions, which are the height, the length, and the breadth. And then plane shapes only have 2 dimensions, which are the length and then the height. The length and then the height. The length and the height. The length and the height. Good. So, our cherished viewers, this brings us to the end of today's lessons. Hopefully, we'll meet again next week. Thanks for watching.
Abundant Grace International School, we are located right in Obuasi, precisely BDM. The school has a number of facilities that aid in learning. We have qualified and trained teachers who are ready and willing to assist the children. The school has many facilities such as the ICT laboratory. We also have a science laboratory. We also have a library. The school has a number of buses which convey the children from their various destinations to the school premises. We have the football team, we have the drama group, we have a lot, and the school is based on the Christian principles. For more inquiries, you can call this number 0541 310 901 0541 670772. Abundant Grace, in God we trust.